to get to your question that you asked of me regarding the victims, there are victims coming out every day, even someone who contacted me last night. So, and it's only standing to be more individuals coming out. I do talk to some of the other attorneys who represent victims that we already have known because they filed cases, who have additional victims who plan to come forward, and they plan to file cases against very soon. So it's only a matter of how many more are going to come out, and it seems to be, it'll be very many more.
You've said that you've been contacted regarding the sale of one of the Diddy FreakOff tapes, and that it features a very high-profile celebrity. What can you tell us about that?
So actually, I recently was contacted by one of my business partners who's also an attorney, who said to me, well, why are we not writing the demand letter to try to do the catch and kill? And I said, well, if you want to do it, then I'll connect you and you can essentially do it. He was also concerned about wanting to protect the other person who was in the film, mainly because I've known about this for about 3.5 weeks to about a month. I've been communicating with these people who purport to have that videotape. And it wasn't until Thursday night that they outright said, can you write on your letterhead a letter to the individual who's also in the tape and see if they're interested in a catch and kill? And is that something, we'll give you X amount of percentage of it. And at the time I was like, I don't think I want to be involved in this, but I hadn't had time to process. But the other attorney I'm speaking of, he's pretty much been in the know the entire time since I first got contacted by these individuals with the tape. And we're pursuing now a meeting with the three of us for us to broker, I guess, a situation where we'll have certain guarantees that once we make the representations to the person in the tape, that we have some level of assurances that this is a valid tape.
And just to be clear, two thoughts about this. One, is it a household name that we're talking about here? And secondly, are they engaged in any criminality from what you understand?
Household name, very much so. More of a household name than Mr. Combs.
Wow,
and
really?
Criminality, they are engaged in pornography. They're not doing anything illegal per se. I can't say that well, I'll say this. My concern was that I could not verify the age of the individual. And so that was my concern about not having anything sent to me and viewing it in the way that I did via stills, via FaceTime video. So I didn't want to have anything in my phone because my issue is we can't determine if this person is 17 to 21.
Right. Fascinating. It's been reported there could be a class action with over 50 alleged victims of Diddy. It also feels like there could be a lot more than that. Do you think, when you look at this case now, that he's ever going to come out of prison?
I do not think Mr. Combs will get out. I was not surprised that he did not get bond. I was saying from the beginning that I was fairly certain, due to my experience in the legal field, that he would not be getting bond and that he would be there until his court case. I also feel as if having a trial would not be in his best interest, and I'll explain why. Everything that comes out in that criminal trial will be used by not only me, but every other civil litigator who has a civil case against Mr. Combs. Everything that the federal government proves beyond a reasonable doubt, because they have a higher criteria to meet than we do. It's the preponderance of the evidence in civil court. So if we have the federal government, if you will, doing all of our heavy lifting for us in a very public trial, all of the discovery that is done will be very valuable, invaluable almost, to every civil attorney who is working on a civil case, which I believe we're about at 14, 15, outside of the other attorney who recently said that he has 50 individuals. And I don't know if he actually has 50 people or if that's a shock value number. I'd be curious to see once that filing comes out. I haven't seen it. I do know other attorneys who have several individuals that they are in the process of filing a complaint for. I'm in the process of filing the complaint for another victim and fielding calls from other individuals who I may take on as clients. I've actually spoke to multiple individuals, but did not take on everybody as a client because I was unable to verify what it was that they were saying, not because I didn't believe them or believe that what they were saying to be true. And that's why I've also expressed at the beginning that Mrs. Wright needs to seek legal counsel, not only about things that she's saying, things that other people are saying that she's repeating, only because a lawyer will go and do a certain level of due diligence to make sure that there's a good faith basis that the claims being asserted are actually true. But I never thought that Mr. Combs would get bond. I do not feel it would be advantageous for him to take this to trial because it would only destroy, well, not destroy him financially, but also let's even pretend he were to get off everything, which I absolutely do not see him being victorious in a criminal trial. The feds have, I believe, like a 97 point something success rate. He's pretty much shooting blind in that situation. His attorney is not doing anything to help him either. And some of the public statements that he's been giving is actually turning public perception more negatively towards Mr. Combs. Not that I'm trying to help him at all in a legal sense. However, when we talk about criminal law, when we talk about the feds this is not a state case, this is a federal case. When we talk about their success rate, the federal government, especially the Southern District of New York, we're talking about people who aim to kill is the best way I can put it. They are successful. They are the leaders in the field. And anything that comes out, any discovery, any testimony, any depositions that come out will be used in his civil cases, which I don't think he's going to want because that's all, he's creating evidence for us to use. And to the point that, while I don't want to acknowledge Vlad, the point that he made earlier about being heavy-handed in terms of any settlement, I do agree to that, only because one of the charges and the main charges is a RICO. And a RICO carries a life sentence, not just a 25 or 40 year or whatever. It's a life sentence. And if we think about how RICO was created in New York to take down mafia bosses, mob bosses. And that's what Mr. Combs is. He's a mafia boss. He's a New York mafioso boss. And the RICO law was created to take down people like him. So if he were to take a plea deal, if only to save himself any potential liability in terms of things that could be used against him in civil court, I can't possibly see him taking less than 25 to 30 years in a plea bargain. However, if I was him, that would be the only option I would have and the only option I would take.
Absolutely fascinating analysis. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Ariel Mitchell-Kidd. Appreciate it.